Objectives are: at the end of the lecture, students will be able to explain genetic code, codon, Wobble hypothesis, describe different steps of translation, enlist the inhibitors of protein synthesis, outline post-translational modification. The flow of genetic information in the cell is DNA to RNA, and finally the product is protein. When a gene is expressed, DNA first transcribed to produce RNA by the process of transcription, and then RNA is translated to produce the product in the form of proteins. In this way, gene expressed by the process of transcription and translation. Proteins consist of polypeptide chain, amino acids joined through peptide bond. The amino terminal at one side of the polypeptide chain, amino terminal or N-terminus, and on the other side carboxy terminal or C-terminus. In a eukaryotic cell, the nuclear envelope separates the transcription from translation, while in prokaryotes, coupling of transcription and translation occur. The messenger RNA is translated by ribosomes while it is still being transcribed from DNA by the RNA polymerase. Here in this diagram, it shows that transcription and translation occur simultaneously in the bacteria, while in eukaryotes, due to the presence of nuclear membrane, transcription occurs in the nucleus while translation occurs in the cytosol. Genetic code. Proteins are composed of 20 different amino acids. A sequence of 3 nucleotides is used to code each amino acid. The genetic code is made up of triplets of bases called codons. Out of 64 codons in the genetic code, 61 code for amino acid. 3 triplets are stop signals to end translation. Here you see that the codons, they are made up of 3 nucleotides or triplet of bases, and there are 3 terminating codons which are UAA, UAG, UG. The initiating codon is AUG, which is for methionine. Now the characteristics of genetic code. Genetic code reads continuously. There is no space, no punctuation, no overlapping. Here, this is the genetic code for 4 different amino acids. So, genetic code read continuously. There is no punctuation, no overlapping, no spaces. It starts from the 5' end AUG code for methionine, then GUC for valine, AGU for serine, CCA for proline, and UAA is the terminating codon. Second characteristics of genetic code is redundancy. Now what is redundancy? More than one codon may specify a particular amino acid, but no codon specifies more than one amino acid. Now, what does it mean? Here you see that more than one codon specify one amino acid. All these 4 amino codons code for proline, while no codon specify more than one amino acid. In this, all these 4 codons code for proline. So this is called redundancy. Redundancy: more than one codon may specify a particular amino acid, but no codon specify more than one amino acid. Universality: the genetic code is the same in almost all living organisms from bacteria to animals. Wobble hypothesis. Now you know that, students, there are 61 possible codons for 20 standard amino acids, and in the cytoplasm there are about 35 to 45 different transfer RNA. So how these transfer RNA recognize more than one codon? It is explained by Wobble hypothesis. Now what is Wobble hypothesis? The first 2 bases of codon form strong base pairing. If you see this figure, the codon on the messenger RNA, the first 2 bases of the codon, this one and 2, this position of the codon, the first 2 bases of the codon form strong base pairing with the anticodon, which is present on the anticodon arm of the transfer RNA. When first base of anticodon is C or A, only one codon is recognized. Here on the anticodon, when first base is C or A, only one codon is recognized. If U or G, 2 different codons may be read at this position, at first position of the anticodon. If G or U present, then it can recognize 2 codons. When inosine is present at the first base of anticodon, 3 different codons can be recognized. At this position, if the first base of anticodon is I or inosine, then it can recognize, this transfer RNA can recognize 3 different codons. This is Wobble hypothesis, that first 2 base pairing is strong and the first 2 base of the codon form a strong base pairing, while the third one is weak, and the first base of the anticodon, if C or A, then transfer RNA recognize or A, then transfer RNA recognize only one codon. If the first base of anticodon is I or inosine, it will recognize 3 codons. So in this way, the 35 to 45 different transfer RNA in the cytoplasm can recognize 61 possible codons of amino acids on the messenger RNA. Types of RNA. There are 4 different types of RNA. Messenger RNA encodes the amino acid sequence of the polypeptide. The genetic code present on the messenger RNA, which will be translated into polypeptide chain. Transfer RNA transports the amino acid to the ribosome during translation. Ribosomal RNA. Ribosomal RNA with proteins form complexes called ribosomes. So ribosomes consist of ribosomal RNA and proteins. Ribosome consists of 2 subunits, large subunit and small subunit. Ribosome is the structure on which messenger RNA is translated into a polypeptide chain. Small nuclear RNA used in eukaryotic RNA processing, for example, exon splicing and intron removal, that is post-transcriptional modification. So for the protein synthesis, first of all, transcription occurs. The complementary strand of the messenger RNA formed from the template strand of DNA. After that, messenger RNA transport in eukaryotes to the cytoplasm at ribosomal site, where it is translated by the process of translation into a polypeptide chain. Translation consists of 4 steps: activation of amino acids, initiation, elongation, termination. Stage 1, activation of amino acids. In this stage, amino acid transfer RNA synthetase attach the correct amino acids to their transfer RNA. There are 20 different amino acids are attached to their corresponding transfer RNA by their specific amino acid transfer RNA synthetases. Each enzyme is specific for one amino acid. So in the cytosol, the specific amino acid transfer RNA attach the amino acid to their corresponding transfer RNA. At the amino acid acceptor arm, ATP is required for the attachment of amino acid to this transfer RNA, and now this transfer RNA is called amino acid transfer RNA or charged transfer RNA. Ribosomes. Prokaryotic ribosomes 70S, S for sedimentation coefficient, it's a Sedberg unit. 70S ribosome or bacterial ribosome consists of 2 subunits, 50S and 30S. 50S contain 5S ribosomal RNA and 23S ribosomal RNA, while 30S subunit contains 16S ribosomal RNA. While eukaryotic ribosome is larger than prokaryotes, it is 80S, as I told you, for sedimentation coefficient, Sedberg unit. 80S consists of 2 subunits, 60S and 40S. 60S subunit contain 5S ribosomal RNA, 28S ribosomal RNA and 5.8S ribosomal RNA, while 40S contain only 18S ribosomal RNA. Ribosome contain 3 sites for the amino acids. A site called amino acid site, P site called peptidase site, E site is the exit site. Ribosome consists of 2 subunits, large ribosomal subunit and small ribosomal subunit on which messenger RNA attached. Stage 2. Specific amino acids initiate protein synthesis. Although methionine has only one codon, AUG, all organisms have 2 transfer RNA for methionine. Why? Because one is used when AUG is the initiating codon for protein synthesis, and the second is used to code for methionine in an internal position in a polypeptide chain. So methionine present at two sites, at the initiation position and at the internal position within the polypeptide chain. So how can you distinguish between the initiating codon and the internal one? The distinction between an initiating and internal one is the addition of the formyl group to the initiating methionine. Now it is called formyl methionine, and transfer RNA called formyl methionine transfer RNA. They attached and they form formyl methionine transfer RNA. So the initiating methionine and transfer RNA distinguish from the internal methionine and transfer RNA by attaching the formyl group. The initiation of polypeptide synthesis in bacteria requires initiating factor IF1, IF2, IF3, GTP, magnesium ions, 30S ribosomal subunit, 50S ribosomal subunit, initiating formyl methionine transfer RNA. The initiating AUG on the messenger RNA is guided to its correct position on 30S subunit of the ribosome by the sequence called Shine-Dalgarno sequence. These are the consensus sequences, and with the help of these sequences, the messenger RNA attached to the correct position on the 38th subunit, AUG on the correct position where the translation starts. Initiating factors. IF3 prevents the 30S and 50S subunits from combining prematurely. IF1 prevents the binding of formyl methionine transfer RNA binding to the A site. Here in the ribosome, this is the B site, peptidase site, and this is the A site. These are the functions of initiating factors. Initiating factor 2, GTP, binds the initiator formyl methionine transfer RNA and helps it to bind with the small ribosomal subunit. So in this picture, you see that IF3 function is to prevent the premature binding of the 30S and 50S subunits. IF1 function to prevent the binding of the formyl methionine transfer RNA on the A site, because formyl methionine transfer RNA always bind on the P site or peptidase site. And IF2 here, you see that IF2 GTP IF2 binds with the initiator formyl methionine transfer RNA and helps it to bind with the small ribosomal subunit. The only site to which formyl methionine transfer RNA can bind is P or peptidase site, while all other incoming amino acid transfer RNA bind first to the A site. The P or the peptidase site is only for the formyl methionine transfer RNA, while all rest of the incoming amino acid transfer RNA will bind on the A site. The 50S ribosomal subunit combines with the 30S ribosomal subunit. GTP bound to the initiating factor 2 will be hydrolyzed into GTP and inorganic phosphate. All the initiating factors IF1, IF2, IF3, they are released at this point, and the initiating complex is now ready for elongation. The initiating complex can and formylmethionine transfer RNA. Now elongation. Elongation requires participation of elongation factors, which are elongation factor Tu, elongation factor Ts, elongation factor G, and for energy GTP is required. First step, the incoming amino acid transfer RNA first bound to the complex of GTP bound elongation factor Tu. Then this complex bind to the A site. Here you see that in this figure, the amino acid transfer RNA first bind to the elongation factor Tu, which already bind with the GTP. Then this complex bound to the A site. During binding, the GTP hydrolyzed and elongation factor Tu with GDP complex is released. The elongation factor Tu GTP complex is regenerated in a process involving elongation factor Ts and GTP. So in this way, the elongation factor Tu GTP again available for the next amino acid transfer RNA for the next cycle. How it is regenerated? By the elongation factor. Which elongation factor? Ts. Elongation factor Ts and GTP regenerate elongation factor Tu bound with GTP. So in this step of elongation, the formylmethionine transfer RNA, they bound on the peptidal or P site, and the next amino acid transfer RNA, they bind on the A site. Next step, peptide bond is now formed between two amino acids. The transfer of amino acid from the first transfer RNA to the second transfer RNA, which is on the A side. Here in the figure you see that the two transfer RNA, formylmethionine transfer RNA on the P site and next amino acid transfer RNA on the A site. Now peptide bond formation occur and amino acid transfer from the first transfer RNA to the second transfer RNA, which is on the A site. The enzyme is peptide transferase, which catalyzes the peptide bond formation. Here in this picture you see that the transfer RNA on the P site is now uncharged or deacylated without any amino acid, because it transfers its amino acid to the transfer RNA which is present on the A site. Now the transfer RNA which is present on the A site, it is called dipeptide transfer RNA because two amino acids present on it. While transfer RNA on the P site, which is formylmethionine transfer RNA, now it is uncharged or deacylated transfer RNA. At this point, uncharged transfer RNA on the P site and dipeptide transfer RNA on the A site. So next step is translocation. Ribosomes moves one codon towards the 3' end of the messenger RNA. This movement requires elongation factor G with GTP for energy. This shifts the dipeptide transfer RNA from the A site to P site and uncharged transfer RNA from P site to the E site, and then uncharged transfer RNA released. Here in the picture you see that the dipeptidyl transfer RNA on the A site, uncharged transfer RNA on the P site. Now the elongation factor G with GTP helps in the translocation process in the movement, and ribosome moves one codon towards the 3' end. When ribosome moves towards the 3' end, one codon it moves on messenger RNA. What happened that dipeptide transfer RNA now it is on the shift on the P site, and uncharged transfer RNA it shift to the E or the exit site, and A or amino acid site is again available for the next incoming amino acid transfer RNA. The uncharged transfer RNA, that is without any amino acid, is now released in the cytosol from the E or the exit site. The ribosome with its attached dipeptide transfer RNA and messenger RNA is now ready for the next elongation cycle and the attachment of the third amino acid residue. Elongation continues until the ribosome reaches to the terminating codon. So dipeptide, then tetrapeptide, pentapeptide, hexapeptide, there's a continuously synthesis of polypeptide chain, the repeating of the 3 steps through which the amino acid attached to the polypeptide chain. This cycle occurs continuously until the terminating codon reached. Termination. Termination is signaled by the presence of one of the 3 terminating codons in the messenger RNA, UAA, UAG, UGA. Releasing factors RF1, RF2, RF3 enters the A site and triggers the hydrolysis, the terminal peptide transfer RNA bond, leading to the release of polypeptide and transfer RNA. So in this way, separate the polypeptide chain, transfer RNA, messenger RNA through this releasing factors. In this way, translation complete. Polyribosomes. What is polyribosomes? Several ribosomes can simultaneously translate the same messenger RNA molecule. In this picture, you see that the messenger RNA translated by several ribosomes. This is called polyribosomes. Now, antibiotics inhibitors of protein synthesis. The inhibitors which inhibit the protein synthesis or translation process. First one is streptomycin. It inhibits the initiation and cause misreading of the messenger RNA in prokaryotes. Tetracycline binds to the 30S subunit and inhibits binding of the amino acid transfer RNA in prokaryotes. Chloramphenicol inhibits the peptide transferase activity of the 50S ribosomal subunits in prokaryotes. Cyclohexamide inhibits the peptide transferase activity of 60S ribosomal subunit in eukaryotes. Erythromycin binds to the 50S subunit and inhibits translocation in prokaryotes. Puromycin causes premature chain termination by acting as an analog of amino acid transfer RNA in prokaryotes as well as in eukaryotes. Further protein synthesis inhibitors, diphtheria toxin. It catalyzes the ADP ribosylation of elongation factor 2, thus inhibiting translocation in eukaryotes. Resin, a glycoprotein found in the oil of castor beans, is a toxic that inactivates 60S subunit of eukaryotic ribosomes by depurinating a specific adenosine in 23S ribosomal RNA. Post-translational modification. After the synthesis of polypeptide chain, protein is not functional. Protein undergo multiple steps, that is post-translational modification. First one, amino terminal and carboxy terminal modification. In this step, the modification of the amino terminal and carboxy terminal occur. Additional amino terminal residues may be removed enzymatically and thus do not appear in the final functional protein. Loss of signal sequences. These signal sequences play a role in directing the protein to its ultimate destination in the cell. Such signal sequences are removed by specific peptidases. Now the modification of individual amino acids. Carboxyl groups may be added to glutamate residues of some proteins. Methyl group, monomethyl or dimethyl lysine residues are also added in some proteins. Glycosylation. The attachment of carbohydrate side chains of glycoproteins, addition of isoprenyl groups. A number of eukaryotic proteins are modified by the addition of groups derived from isoprene. Phosphorylation. Hydroxy groups of certain amino acids are phosphorylated like serine, threonine, tyrosine. Carboxylation. The addition of carboxyl group to the glutamate. Glutamylation. Covalent linkages of glutamic acid residues to tubulin. Lipylation. The addition of lipid functionally. Sulfation. The addition of sulfate group to a tyrosine. Hydroxylation. The addition of hydroxy group to proline of protein. Methylation. The addition of methyl group usually at lysine or arginine residues. Alkylation. The addition of alkyl group, example methyl, ethyl. Biotinylation. The addition of biotin to protein or nucleic acids. Acetylation. The addition of an acetyl group usually at the end terminus of the protein. Addition of prosthetic group like heme and biotin. Many prokaryotes and eukaryotic proteins require for their activity covalently bound prosthetic groups. Biotin and heme group, they bind to the proteins in post-translational modification. Proteolytic processing. Many proteins are initially synthesized as large inactive precursors, proteins that are proteolytically trimmed to produce their smaller active forms. Formation of disulfide crosslinks. After folding into their native conformation, some proteins form intra-chain or inter-chain disulfide bridges. So, after post-translational modification, no covalent bonding occur in between chains, hydrogen bonding, hydrophobic bonding, van der Waals bonding, electrostatic bonding to fold the proteins into a specific three-dimensional structure. In this way, protein become functional. This picture shows the attachment of different non-protein groups to the protein at which step? Post-translational modification. Mutations. Effect of mutations on proteins. Mutations in DNA are transcribed into messenger RNA and thus can cause changes in the encoded proteins. There are two types of mutations: point mutation, frame shift mutation. In the point mutation, there is missense mutation, silent mutation, nonsense mutation. Frame shift mutation is due to insertion or deletion or inversion. Now, point mutation. Point mutation are the single base mutations, a change in one nucleotide of the sequence. In point mutation, first one is the missense mutation. Single nucleotide change result in a change in the amino acid and loss of functional capacity of protein. Sickle cell anemia results from a point mutation, that is missense mutation, in which GAG changed to GTG. Here you see that a change in a single base or single nucleotide that causes valine to replace glutamate at position 6 in beta globin chains, which alter the shape of RBCs, result in hemolysis. Silent mutation. Single nucleotide change which result in same amino acid is incorporated and mutation goes unnoticed. Here is the example: when CAA code for valine, after mutation CAT code the same amino acid, that is valine. It is called silent mutation. Nonsense mutation. Single nucleotide change into an stop codon is generated. This results in a premature termination of a polypeptide chain and the protein will be non-functional. Here in the figure you see that the DNA level, messenger RNA, and due to this mutation ADC will change into UAG. A change in the single nucleotide result in the terminating codon, which stop the synthesis of polypeptide chain, and thus the protein will be non-functional. Frame shift mutation is a change in the reading frame of DNA, either due to deletion or insertion or inversion. Insertion or removal of the base or bases can alter the reading frame with the resultant incorporation of different amino acids. Here in the picture, due to the deletion of this single base, whole reading frame will be changed, result in the change in the amino acid sequence in the polypeptide change. So instead of lysine, serine, proline, serine, leucine, asparagine, alanine, now after deletion and changing of the frame, it becomes lysine, valine, histidine, leucine, methionine. Insertion. The insertion of a single base will also lead to the frame shift mutation. So whole frame will be shift, and now the polypeptide chain will become lysine, serine, threonine, isoleucine, threonine, which is different from the normal polypeptide chain. Okay, thank you class. Polypeptide chain. Okay, thank you class.